Okay, guys, welcome in today. Little bit of technical difficulty there, but nothing on your side. I'm sure it's all user error, so don't even worry about it. I'm hoping that we're up and running now and that we can get participation if I realize it's Memorial Day. Hopefully what that means for you guys, since you're upstart entrepreneurs, is that you worked your asses off around the clock 24/7 all the time. Maybe this is a day you might could slow down and be a part of this and listen, learn. I already have a giant list of questions here. Hi, Jennifer and Sean. Thanks for jumping on. Thank you for submitting all the questions. This really helps a lot to get me started. Now, in full disclosure, the reason why I'm sitting outside in a soaked tank top is because I just got doing one hellacious workout. And I just got done with that, and I got back here to the house, and I realized it took longer than I thought it would, because I'm not in shape the way I used to be. And I rolled up, and I was getting ready to walk in, and my beautiful, gorgeous wife, who you guys got to meet her someday, met me at the door with my iPad, and she said, "You're not coming to the house like that. Sit outside and do it." So here I am. It's Memorial Day. Hey, I want to be outside anyway. It's all good. So you guys are here with me, and appreciate you. By the way, this is something that we hear about, right? On Memorial Day, CrossFitters, and the first rule of Fight Club is you don't ever talk about Fight Club. The first rule of CrossFit is that you tell everybody. When I was a hardcore CrossFitter, I told everybody all the time. And today I just kind of got up and said, you know what, I'm going to do the Murph. And the Murph workout is a weighted run, like you wear a vest or you carry a medicine ball, and then you do 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 squats, and then you do another weighted run. And I did that, and I used to be able to do it in about 30 or 40 minutes, and today it took me an hour and 10 minutes. So I'm getting a little bit older, and I'm getting back on the stick. And but one reason that you'll find lots of business coaches, particularly because I'm in that world, I know a bunch of people, they're almost always, these guys are obsessed with, and I'm not saying I'm obsessed with it, I used to be, fitness, Ironman, and all that. They go trekking, and I've done that stuff too, and I love it. I think that's because there's an art to learning how to do hard things, okay? As entrepreneurs, as people, we begin to learn, we begin to do stuff, and it begins to suck, and then we might decide to quit, and you learn how to not quit. And let me tell you, in my entrepreneurial journey, that's really come in handy. Quick aside, I had a company here in Nashville, which somebody actually referenced here in one of the questions, which is nice. Music City Tents and Events. And when we started, and I started that out of my garage with a partner in 2002, January 2002, it was really difficult for the first 8 years or so. And by the way, Sean, I've got all the questions printed right here in front of me, so thank you for dropping them right there, but I got you covered. You can stop copying and pasting. Man, we had roadblock after roadblock. I mean, like, it was always no. It was go until no, and then go another way, go until no, and then go another way. So as we're talking through this stuff, and as you guys are taking the time on Memorial Day to hang out and get better, man, the best thing I can do is just keep encouraging you guys. Never, ever give up. And thank God you're in a group like this where you can encourage each other. Friday flex, right? People flex, and they're having, yay, great. What about when somebody's having a shitty day, right? And they need your help. You got to be there for them. Be there for them then as well. Maybe even more. Encouragement's really important. So I've got a ton of questions. I'm going to start to roll through these. I want to get through all of them. I'm not sure that I will, because I want to make sure that we have a lot of value. I'm going to take them in order, right? So first one here. Let's jump to the action. Cheryl, what's up? Shelly, Meryl, how are you? Gerline, or Jerline, I don't know how to say that exactly, Coughlin. She said, hey, JT, in our business as the owner, how do we develop more confidence, especially when we speak to vendors, employees, ultimately customers when we're selling? That's a great question. People love confidence. It's a great sales tool. It's a great tool for anything, let's be honest. Dating, everything else. People who are confident are attractive and magnetic. You can fake it. There's no way around it. I've done it the better part of my whole life, right? When you're a kid and you're a teenager and you have low self-esteem, and then you decide, hey, I'm just not going to do that anymore. I'm going to believe that I'm the coolest MFer on the planet, and if I believe it long and hard enough, everybody else will believe it too. And that's been that's something that's worked for me over the course of my life, really. Even in my when I feel like an imposter in the dark, right? And then I look in the mirror and I put cold water on the face and I say, no way, man. Coolest motherfucker in the world. Let's go to work, right? And that's how it has to. So you can do that for yourself. You can trick yourself into feeling confident. That's one thing. What I like even better is to actually be confident. And what I mean, and one way to do that is to believe in your product. Believe in what you're doing. You know, you don't reference here what you're doing, and that's fine. I just want to challenge you to do this. And like Shelly, Nick, and Brianna, and some of the people who I met last year, and we did a little workshop. And I challenged them. I said, I want you to drill down to why what you're doing is really, really important. I don't care if you're selling a product. I don't care if it's performing service. I don't care if you're teaching people how to do stuff. So the exercise goes like this. You sit down and you write down, what do you do? And you write it down. And then the next question is, why is that important? And then you write something down. Justify it. All right. And the next question is, why does it matter? And it can take a while, and it can get old, and it can also change your whole life. Okay. Because if you read, there's a book called Why, Develop Your Why by Simon Sinek, S-I-N-E-K. You should read that book. Number one, it's fascinating. Number two, it'll help you. Once you can drill down as to why whatever you're doing is important and it really, really matters, you will have a new level of confidence that you carry with you into any sale, and into any conversation with a potential employee, into any advertising. And keep in mind, it's not an advertising exercise. It's not free. The only reason, and great, Gerline, you said you'll read it. Great. Consider this. It's not an advertising exercise. It's so much more important than that. Forget about it. It'll change everything. It'll change everything about the way you do business. It'll change how you price. It'll change who you hire. It'll change what you're going to go do when you go make your mark on the world. It might change you as a person. Once you have it drilled down, we call it core purpose. The core purpose of my organization. Turn up my volume, huh? All right. Or I'll just talk about her. Let's see how this goes. The core purpose of my organization is boom. And everything we do is to fulfill that core purpose. You will automatically be more confident. Whether you're talking to outside people, inside employees, whatever, you will become more confident when that happens. I think typically when people lack confidence, I'm not sure they have they have something to be all that confident about, or they're just not sure what it is. So go do that exercise. You look it up almost anywhere. There's a book called Scaling Up. It's kind of the bedrock of the work that I do, at least. And the first thing we do is, thank you, Natasha, appreciate you. The first thing that we do is we drill down, like if you look at the one-page strategic plan, which is in the book Scaling Up, and whether it's traction or whether it's Six Sigma or any of these other business things, like I don't even care if you use Scaling Up. I don't care if you get a coach, although a coach will make it go better faster. That's all. So if your time is important to you, you might want to pay money for a coach to make it go faster. No big deal. All of those are predicated on you must have a foundation for your business. Core purpose is the number one thing, core purpose. Once you've discovered that, core values. Core values, all that really means is who must we be to fulfill our core purpose? That's all. And then the last one is big, hairy, audacious goal. 10, 20 years, what are we going to go do? We're going to go kick ass in this industry, and we're going to be at $1 billion a year, or we're going to be household name, whatever, right? So that's a good place to start. Work on your core purpose. Once you feel really, really good about that, you will be more confident. Okay, I hope that's helpful. All right, let's go to the next one here. This is Alex. Alex said, is it necessary, does it help to share your basic numbers, such as overhead and fixed costs, with managing staff? The directors of our child care centers are in charge of billing our clients. They don't fully understand the cash flow. Do I share with them just the amount it takes to break even, to be profitable? Or do I give them the number of enrollment required for those metrics? All right, Alex, thank you. Thank you for asking this. I can guarantee you that Shelly, Edwin, Sean, those guys know what I'm going to say. If you want to have a chance in hell at hitting your profitability numbers. It is possible you should tell the people doing the work what those numbers are and how to achieve them. Don't just, would you just push an athletic team out on the field and say, hey, go play, and not show them the scoreboard? Where's the sense of urgency? What do they even know? Why is it even important? What do they even know what to do, right? So, and I know, believe me, I know that it's risky because you've got hourly people, you've got people who you're paying, and then when they see that you're really, really profitable, they're gonna be mad, right? They wanna share in the profit, and I get it, man. I've been there, Alex. Exactly this question, I asked my coach the same thing. And he came back at me and said, hey man, tell your people what profit you want to drive only if you want to achieve it. And if you're afraid that your people are going to resent you and they're going to like squeeze you for more money or something, you have the wrong people working for you, right? And there's something we say all the time, brother, if you can't change the people, change the people, right? Go hire the people who believe in your purpose and tell them, hey, here's the reason why I want you to understand these numbers, because we have to drive profitability in our business, because if you're not profitable, you don't stay open and they don't have jobs anymore. That's number one. Here's another thing you can do. It's called the dollar exercise. And man, I really wish I had a whiteboard here, but I'm gonna do my best to describe this for you, all right? I'm gonna use this piece of paper and maybe this will work. Let me see. No, things don't show up backwards on this. This is so cool. This is cool. Okay, one thing you can do is sit down with your team and write this on a whiteboard. Say, okay, guys, for every dollar that we bill out, how much do you think is profit? Like, how much do I get to keep? And because I did this, and the time I did it, I had about 50 employees, and I had them portioned out, right? Because over half of my employees were not English speaking, right? So I had my English speaking people here, and I had my non-English speaking people here, and I had like my translator guy standing next to me, and I said, hey, whatever I say, you say it just the way I say it, right? And it was funny because he was Mexican and like 6'6", and I am too. So it was like, we had this big like song and dance going on up front. That was funny. Hey guys, out of every dollar of revenue we do, how much profit, how much do you think we get to keep? You're gonna hear things like 60 cents, 35 cents, 20 cents. They have no idea what profit means. They have no idea what it costs to do business. And when you tell them, hey guys, over the course of 2019, it was 4 cents. We were 4% profitable. You know? They know what the hell 4 cents means. And then all you have to do is say, oh, by the way, the first thing that happened is Uncle Sam came in and took half of it. So let's take that to 2 cents. And out of the, what do you think those 2 cents go, guys? It's to growing the business. It's to leasing more trucks. It's to buying equipment. It's to buy forklifts. It's to get a bigger space for us to work in. That's where that money goes. And Greg Crabtree, now this is another one, book alert. I mentioned Why by Simon Sinek. You should read Simple Numbers by Greg Crabtree. I'm not saying that you guys are simple. I can guarantee you, damn near everybody on this has a better, not better. I know the numbers just fine. I just don't love them, right? I'm not interested in them the way I'm interested in other stuff. So Greg Crabtree, Simple Numbers, you read that book and you can easily digest what profitability means, what healthy profitability means, cash flow and the like, and you can explain it to the people who work with you. And I suggest that you do. 10% profitability is healthy, right? That's enough cash to keep rolling and grow. You want to be at software numbers in a perfect world, 20 to 25 to 30%. You might go, well, shit, man, nobody's ever been that profitable in my space. And I might go, yeah, it's going to be real cool when you do it, right? What do you have to do to hit that kind of number, right? So I just want you to encourage you to read Simple Numbers. If you don't have a good command of your numbers, there's no shame in the game. Go get some help. And then likely your banker really could help you with that. They probably would. In fact, lots of times we did this. We got our banker to come in and give like 30 minutes at lunch for my team. And he got up there on a whiteboard and just helped them budget their everyday expenses to help them budget better. because we were a seasonal business. Sometimes we were killing it, everybody was making tons of money, and sometimes there was no money to be made. So I want to encourage you to do that. Do not be afraid to share with your employees the kind of profit that you need to make. That's the only way you're going to go get it. Otherwise, they are not going to do the stuff you're asking them to. They're not going to understand why we need to cut cost here. Like, they don't get it. They really don't get it. So go show them. If you do, two things are going to happen, Alex. You will have made them more valuable. You will have made them better business people, and they will appreciate it. They will. Every once in a while, you'll have a couple of people who are, oh, you're not paying me enough. I know we're making all this money. You're not sharing enough with me or whatever. Hey, that's a valid concern. Maybe you aren't paying them enough. That's arguable. Although in my experience, people who are really, really badass are getting paid just fine, because you got to keep them happy. Those are called A players. They're the right company culture fit, and they are incredibly productive, probably twice as productive as other people. And I saw a question pop up, got me distracted, but it leads right into this, so thank you, Natasha. So just keep in mind, you want to keep A players super, super happy. And I'm going to bounce off of this to Natasha said, how do you handle independent contractors when selling? This is what I do. I work with a lot of home builders, and they have a couple of different people who they work with, right? So they've got trade subcontractors, which is the bread and butter of the people that do most of the work on these houses that you see out there being built. At least with the companies I'm working with, because they're big, giant companies, 500 million in revenue, that kind of thing. They also have independent realtors, right? So sometimes they have their own home sellers, and they have independent contractors. I always say, for trade subcontractors, independent contractors, for selling whatever, treat those people like employees. Treat them like employees. Any information that you would give to your employees, give to them. Straight up. Here's the deal. They aren't going to go do the hard work to go out and start their own gig. They're not going to do it. There's a reason why they're independent contractors. It's a pretty easy gig. Somebody else has done all the heavy lifting to put them in an opportunity to come in and make some money off of the product that you're making, right? So don't be afraid of employees or anybody that you work with, like, stealing all of your great ideas and going to do something with it. Y'all know well as I do, the great idea is not the hard part. It is the actual work of taking that idea and putting some sweat behind it and grinding and breathing life into it, right? And here's the other part. If one of your employees, let's just say, you develop them, you teach them about profitability, you teach them how to get better, requisite training and all this stuff. If they stay with you a long time, they're driving tons of value, and that's great. And then eventually they know enough to go start their own company. That's happened to me before, and I was proud. I wasn't mad. I was proud of them. And now I've sold that old company, and my old company is competing against my former employee, and they're having a good competition. They're driving tons of value. They're both making nice money. I'm friends with everybody. It's super cool. There's a cartoon on the internet. It's like a meme where, like, these two leaders of the company are standing there at the coffee shop, and one guy says, "Hey, what if we invest a bunch of time and money into our people and they leave?" And the other guy says, "What if we don't and they stay?" You really want to have a company full of people who suck? Like, tell these people what's expected, help them get better, and you will achieve the stuff you want to achieve, right? That's it. Really appreciate that question, because it's timely and it's very good. All right, let's go to Roland. Roland has a question here. I'm watching the time. Roland says, I work in a family business where my father's had the business for a long time. I'm in my 20s and I just started working in the business. I'm looking for resources and advice on how I can influence my father to be open to new ideas I bring into the company so we can evolve and grow. How can I approach him? How can I create that working relationship where he will trust me to do more things I think can grow the company? All right, man. Good question. Tricky question. Okay? This is I have dealt with this as a business coach. I wish I could tell you that I've dealt with it and it went well. It did not. I got brought into a company where two sons had just bought the company from their father, bought the company, and they wanted to scale up and they wanted to do all this stuff. And I'm not cheap, man. So they put a lot of money into bringing me to Canada, sat down with them, worked 3 days doing all this stuff. I didn't understand that their father was still really calling the shots from behind the scenes. He did not trust them to do new stuff in the organization. And when they started to do it, he pulled the plug really in every possible way out from under their feet. And it was really, really, not only was it bad for the company, they lost opportunities, they wasted money on me, right? Because I'm not inexpensive. More than anything, their personal relationships were just devastated, and it was sad to watch. And I'm saying that as I'm a father of 4, and I've got 3 sons. So God help me if any of my boys ever came to work with me, and I didn't trust them, and I undermined them in such a way. Now, that is an example of how it can go bad. The times I've seen it go really well is where you, as the son, outwork everybody all the time, bring tons of value every day. You're learning like crazy, okay? Learning, growing, taking in information. Leaders are readers. Roland, if I could give you one piece of advice that I think would jumpstart what you're talking about here, is you need to go pick up a great business book today, and you need to read it over the course of the next 2 or 3 days, and then hand it and say, hey, Dad, I read this book and I loved it. I think you would like it. Hand it to him. And then you're on to the next book, and the next, and the next, and the next, right? You're going to need to show your dad that you have a commitment to learning and growing, and that you don't just expect, because you're 20 or 25 years younger and you're the new generation, that you're bringing all these fresh ideas. Like, who cares? Maybe your ideas suck. And I'm just being dramatic. I'm not saying they do. I'm just saying, how does he know they're great ideas, right? Go out and get as much knowledge as you can and invite him along. He'll really appreciate it. It'll be fun because you'll be learning together. And I think the trust factor there, he will see you're willing to work really hard, you're willing to learn, you're willing to be open, stay very close with him. Communication is also key. Roland, this would probably be a good idea. Maybe you want to get on a cadence with your dad where you meet every week, right? And this is not your weekly meeting or whatever. Maybe this is just you and your dad. Have lunch on Thursdays where you talk about high-level stuff in the company. And he knows what you're thinking. He knows what you want to get done. You know what he's thinking. That'll help a lot too. So I know I'm pretty general there, but I think that's the beginning of really making it cook. And be patient, bro. Like, be patient. You know, you're working for the family business. You're in your 20s. You just started. Be patient, man. You got the rest of your life to be the man. So, like, just be cool, work closely with your dad, and be open with him. And I think that'll help a lot. That's a very good question. Maybe the best one I've received. Thank you. All right, here's Zach. And Zach name-checked my old company, so thank you. When I was out selling for Music City Tents, how did you best find your client's budget to know whether they were qualified prospect or could even afford your services? I sell high-end security cameras. Some of my competitors' products are cheaper but inferior in quality. Would doing a SWOT for my business help? Yes, absolutely. So a bunch of great questions there. Do a SWOT for your business because it's going to help everything in general. I'm going to tell you all what a SWOT means now. So write this down, right? You can also Google it, right? It's no big secret. But if you got something to write with, write it down. You want to list out all of your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, okay? Strengths are things that you guys do internally really well, better than other people, right? Sounds like one of your strengths is probably your product. You've got high-end, really great quality product, right? That's a strength. Boom, perfect. Competitors don't offer it. Love it, okay? And these things must be internal to your organization now, not aspirational. Like, they're true right now. And they got to be internal and they must be real, right? So strengths, right? And then what you want to do is over time, and you want to say, hey, over the next 3 months, we want to protect our strengths. So we want to make sure if it's our high quality, newest, latest, greatest inventory, we probably are doing research and development to make sure we always have the high end shit that we're selling. And like our competitors are not catching up with us. So that's something you can do, touch on. It's like spinning plates, right? You want to spin that plate. Okay, weaknesses. Weaknesses are not a lot of fun to talk about, but we all have them, right? These are things that internally we are weak on, and they're slowing us down. They're costing us money. They're costing us sales. They're an issue that we need to do something about, okay? And you just go ahead and list those out. We have a lack of a sales structure. We have a lack of X amount of processes. We have a lack of training. We have a lack of training for our customers. And that's a weird one, but like if you trained your customers to understand the difference between a great camera and a shitty one, you wouldn't have to justify the price. They don't know. What do they know? So go out and tell them, okay? Opportunities. Now this is a tricky one. Opportunities are things that you could choose to go do in the next 18 to 24 months. And if you did, it would wildly exceed your plan. It's something like buy a competitor, right? Now, I know that sounds crazy. Yeah, it does. In my very first planning session with a coach, we were doing SWOT. So thanks for bringing this up, Zach. And one of our opportunities was we could buy one of our competitors. In Nashville, we were like second in the market, right? And we were doing about $3 million a year at the time. There was another competitor very similar to us doing about $3 million a year. And we decided that we wanted to double our revenue in 1 year. And that year was 2012. We said, hey, one way or another, we're going to double our revenue. What would we have to do? It became quite obvious all we'd have to do is purchase our competitor, and we would double our revenue. I mean, it sounds pretty easy, right? Well, there's a lot more to it than that. We had to go find out if they wanted to sell. We had to go ask the bank if we could even had a snowball's chance at affording it, right? However, we decided we wanted to do that. We approached her, the lady who owned the company, which is the company that I started at, which felt good. And she was over it. We were kicking her ass every day. Anyway, she didn't want to fight us anymore. She wanted to get paid out. And so we worked it out, and we acquired her company and about $3 million in revenue, and we didn't need one of her employees. And buddy, let me tell you what, that is some profitability, flip turnover like you can't believe. So that's an opportunity, right? And then threats. The last one are threats. What are things externally that could happen to us that could put us out of business, could hurt us, right? Something like a pandemic. And by the way, I wish I could say that a global pandemic had been on the threat list for the companies I work with. It wasn't. Economic decline, housing bubble burst, natural disaster. Those are things, the labor market drying up. Like those are real threats that people mitigate against every day. But nobody really saw the damn coronavirus coming. Well, guess what? It's going to be on the threat list from here on out. So you do your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Boom, 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 boom. And then you want to go back and you want to pick one of your strengths that you want to go and protect and you want to do something about. Go find one of your weaknesses that you want to do something about. And here's the cool part. Weaknesses almost exclusively, once you put a lot of time and energy into them, they almost exclusively jump to strength, right? We have a lack of training. No problem. We go and we get educated. We put together a training program. We start, working really, really hard at that. And next time you do your strength, weakness thing, and you should do that maybe every 6 months. The next time you go in, your strengths probably is going to be your training program. So that's cool. Always touching on them. If there's an opportunity you need to go do something about, like when I called up my competitor and said, hey, have you even thought about selling? Let's quit fighting each other. Why don't we just pay you out and go have the best day of your life, right? That's something you could go do. And then threats. And man, my home builders are living proof of this. Last 2 or 3 years, they've been very profitable and they've been socking away cash like nobody's business. Pandemic hits, right? So their sales have decreased, across the nation, it's about 30%. And that's no fun. However, what is fun is they are sitting on a war chest of money and they are buying up broken deals and land like never before. like 08, 09, which is when most of those guys went from little companies to bigger companies, and now they're going from big ones to giant, right? So protect strengths, focus on weaknesses, pursue opportunities, mitigate against threats, SWOT. And I'll go back to the original part here, Zach, where you said, how did you best find out your client's budget to know if they're qualified? Now here, this is gonna, Zach, here we go. This is gonna be earth-shattering. Ask them. I am Mr. Obvious, and it works every time. Hey, Mr. Competitor, or hey, Mr. Potential Client, here's the deal. You know, here's another book alert, Confessions of the Pricing Man. The author's name is Herman Simon. Confessions of the Pricing Man is fascinating. You'll love it. You'll price differently after you read it. There's no way around it. But here's the cool part. And then because you don't ever want to be in the middle. You want to be the most expensive or the least. If you're fighting in the middle, you're gonna die. You fight everybody forever. But here's the cool part. This is from example, because my tent company, we were the most expensive in the market, and we were worth it. I could prove it. And from a coaching standpoint, I'm just throwing this out there. When it comes to coaching, I'm very expensive, and I'm worth it, right? And so what do I do when I'm talking to people about it? Am I going to do coaching with them? I ask them the very first thing. I say, hey, to work with me is going to cost about $100,000 a year. Can you afford that? And they go, oh, good God, that's a lot. Holy shit, you know? Or they go, yeah, that's not a problem. The money's not a problem. It's the discipline. It's the will to do something else. You know, I can show them return on investment stuff all day long. So Zach, what I would encourage you to do is, and you can almost go back to the first question where we were talking about being confident in your product and your place in the market. Hey man, I'd roll up on anybody and say, hey, here's the deal. We're the most expensive. Here's why. Because other people's products fail. Other ones, you'll be replacing those cameras in 6 months. Other people, when you call up, you get they don't have anybody to do service, We address all of those things. Our cameras don't fail. And when they do, you get me on the phone. And where it takes other people an average of a day to get your cameras back online, I get them back online in 4 hours or it's free. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. So I would not be afraid to ask for that higher price. I would not be afraid to tell every damn body about it in the first call. In fact, when I'm on the call with people and they go, hey, JT, how much do your services cost? Like the first thing I say is, dude, it's expensive. It's expensive, And depending on the size of the engagement, whatever, I go, well, listen, it's anywhere from 50,000 to 75 to 100,000 a year, right? So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to throw it out there. All that's going to do is save you time. And by the way, you're going to gain the kind of clients that you want to gain, and they're going to tell everybody, right? So now you have this network of people giving referrals, and everybody knows what it costs. And the cost is ancillary, man. It's your service and it's your products and it's what you're doing for them. You know what I mean? So just throw that out there. And I worked with I can tell you this because it's public knowledge. I worked with a security company in Columbia, Tennessee. They're much bigger now. They were smaller then. Core purpose, right? We did their core purpose work with them, and theirs is good. The name is Provincia Security, and their core purpose is they help people sleep at night and make the most out of their day, right? Because they keep people secure, and then they also do like Wi-Fi and internet like stuff. So help them sleep at night and make the most out of their day. And they have a reputation for that. And you can't, people would say, oh, you can't put a price on that. Sure you can. And it's the most, right? I don't know what Comcast is charging for security, but they don't give a damn whether you sleep at night and get the most out of your day. That's my business, and I charge twice as much as them. So when do you want to start, right? So go out there, be bold, price yourself high, read Confessions of the Pricing Man. That's the number one thing for all. If y'all don't get anything else off of this, go read that book. It's fascinating. And it's really good, okay? All right, let's rock on here. Lauren said, I'm a real estate agent and an interior designer. I know I want to build my own brokerage and be the brand that other agents join, and I help them. If you were going to develop a plan to make this happen, how would you do it? And how do I overcome those fears that I have? Well, that's a good question, Lauren. Overcoming the fear part. Listen, you're always going to have fear as the stakes get higher. No shit. No, more money, more problems, right? And that's for real. I'm just telling you. You know, I know y'all are sitting out there, right, saying, man, I wish I had all this money, and that's great. And I'm not saying I got a ton of money. I damn sure have a lot more than I used to. More money, more problems. There's fear. The stakes are higher, right? I got investments I'm watching, I'm afraid. I didn't used to have those investments. I didn't have the fear, right? So get over yourself on that one. But this idea of build your own brokerage, be the brand, you know, what I would do is build out a business plan first to make sure that the numbers hold water, right? Make a plan. Here's the cool part. Like I've done coaching with companies that were pre-revenue. Like all they had was investment dollars and an idea, and we built a business plan to see whether or not it was viable. And as soon as we figured out it was viable, we just started doing it. You know, like the tent company, literally. I mentioned we started in 2002, man. Like we bought some tents used out of Alabama, and we went to Old Time Pottery and bought 300 place settings of some cheap dishes, and we just started doing it. And it was risky. It wasn't as risky. I mean, I think we put $30,000 into it. So I think the number one thing, Vanessa, would be put together a plan, figure out how much money you have to risk, and make sure you're okay with it. Make sure it's not going to cripple you for life or something, right? 30 grand, not the end of the world. It's the price of a car. If the whole company had gone to shit, I would have paid it off over the course of 2 or 3 years and gone and got a job and done something else, right? So you're never going to get over that fear, but you know what? You can kind of get comfortable with the idea of being afraid, right? And that might be a more important lesson. So I'd love, and if you do that, hey, reach out to me. All of you guys, feel free to reach out to me, JT at petracoach.com or JT Terrell online at gmail.com. Whichever one you want to, but if you're a Gmail user, shoot me a Gmail, okay? All right. Let's go over here to Allie. 2 questions. She wants to grow $1 million business. She's close to 6 figures now. Question number 1, when scaling from 6 figures to 7 and then to 8, I like the sound of that, what are the key areas for me to focus on as a business owner? I know I need to build out scalable sales and marketing process, but I've never done that before. Yeah. Okay, so, it's so tempting to want to go and build out that. It really depends on where you are in the life cycle, right? So I know you're making the leap now from 6 figures to 7, and that's cool. Probably depends on the size of your team as well. I don't know the industry that you're in, but you as the business owner, like you said, hey, what are the key areas I need to focus on? And that's a good word. You need to, the best that you can, replace yourself in the production side of the business. So you guys look this up, and you should go read Scaling Up, because there's just a lot of good stuff in there. And in Scaling Up, you'll see the functional accountability chart. And what that means is you would just think about your own business, and you would say be the head of the company, who's functionally accountable for being the head of the company, for sales and revenue, for operations, for marketing, for the treasury, on down the line, right? You get it. And for smaller businesses, Allie, right now, it might be you. You might be in every one of those boxes. Oh, good. Sean said she's a digital marketing agency. Very good. So I would look at the functional accountability, and I would do whatever I had to do to make sure that Allie's name was only in head of the company and sales and revenue, net new revenue, balls to the wall, take over the world. And I'd have other accountable people in those different areas of production, of even, off-site accounting, third-party accounting. There's no way in the world you should be doing your own books. I'm like, you could. I'm sure you're very talented at it, but you should, and you should be living and breathing, sleeping sales and bombing. Okay, Sean said it's just her. Allie, right now you're doing it all. I got it. What would we have to do for you to be able to focus only on sales and generation of new revenue for you, right? That would be the focus that I'd be looking for. What are the key areas for me to focus on? Be strategy, head of the company, where are we going, and sales and driving revenue. Because nobody's going to do that better than you. And by the way, I've got a client in New Haven, Connecticut, Impact Digital Sales and Marketing. And they are huge, and they're awesome, and they might be the most talented people I've ever worked with. And it's just a trip to watch their business model and the way that they work. I don't know if you've ever done anything with them or collaborated. Oh man, I'll tell you what you should do, Allie. This will be good. It's Impact Digital Sales and Marketing. Go onto their website. They've got a thing coming up next week, and it is specifically about sales and marketing for digital marketing agencies. And it's normally, I'm not kidding you, it's normally like $300 to attend. They're doing it for $39 a person. And everybody who watches this video should attend it. I don't have the date right here in front of me, but you want to talk about return on investment, you will get your world rocked by that. You'll get your world rocked by all that value that you're going to get. If it was 300, I would still say go do it. $39 is dumb to not do it. Go to Impact Digital Sales and Marketing. I think it's Impact. I can't remember the website off the top. You can find them. They're huge on Google. They're a HubSpot elite partner. You'll see them. So, right on. I want to keep pushing through this. So go and do that. And then number two, how do I do it when I don't know how? That's a good question. I'm telling you, Allie, thank you right there. Sean, you're all over it. Go to the digitalsalesandmarketingworld.com virtual selling summit. Bam. Go do that. And Allie, that will begin to teach you. I mean, they are so generous. They are literally about creating heroes. They want to turn you into a hero for your own company. And it's totally amazing. So just go to that, pay the $39, spend the 3 or 4 hours and rock on. Okay. And please, once you've done that, please reach out to me, JT Terrell online at gmail.com, and just let me know how it went. Tell me if you got anything out of it. Tell me if you didn't like it, whatever. I love those guys. I know they're awesome. I don't want to be sending people to stuff that sucks. There's no way that will, but if you have a bad experience, please send me an email and let me know, okay? All right, let's go to another one here. In our construction company, a guy that flips homes contacted us to get some work done for his 2 properties. The original price we gave him is a little higher than his budget. He contacted us with a concern, pleaded that if we could drop the price to his budget, in return we win the business for future house flips. Project cost $300,000, customer budget $240,000 and a $60,000 difference, which can be done. Our margin will just be lower. Concern, I'm convinced he'll use our price that is within his budget to lure another contractor into giving him a cheaper bid. So I was thinking about drafting some sort of documentation contract that says he has the right to hire us for that project if we provide a bid within his price range. Is that the right thing to do? I don't think I don't think it's a bad thing to do if you can get him to live by it. I don't know why he would do it. You know, that'd be my number one thing. More than anything, you know, you mentioned something really important there. Let me see here. Contacted us if we drop the price in his budget for future house flip. We can do it. Our margin will be lower. That's the key. I've got a guy who I used to work with in New York, and he's Ukrainian. His name's Yuri. We're friends. He said I could talk about him, and his company did about 8 figures a year. All they do is wash windows. They wash windows in high-end apartment buildings and stuff in New York City and the 5 boroughs, right? And the first time I ever met with him, I asked him what his margin was, right? I asked him what his profit margin was. He said it was 30%. And then after I got up off the floor, I said, dude, how in the hell do you maintain this 30% margin? And he said, it's easy. If I don't get 30% margin, we don't do the job. Like, he will not compromise the value he brings and his reputation and all this stuff. And he's got a referral network like nobody's business. He will not compromise on the margin, right? So it might be, I understand that you need work, and I understand that, taking a bath on margin, loss leader kind of thing, fine. And if you could get the guy to do some kind of an agreement, right? You know, and so in our tent business, we had agreements with a lot of people. We never had like we didn't really have a contract that was enforceable legally, but we had a gentleman's agreement on paper. We were agreeing to, it was almost like a year, for us it was annual. Here's our annual agreement. We're gonna give you 15% discounts in exchange for 100% of your business, and these things are gonna happen, and this was the Country Music Hall of Fame. And JT and his wife get to go to the Country Music Hall of Fame dinner and sit next to Garth and Trisha, and on down the line, like all of this stuff that we're gonna do. And so that might be something that the guy would sign. I don't know if he would allow himself to get locked in to, I don't know if he would allow himself to get locked into a construction agreement sight unseen, and I don't know if you've done work with that guy before. And maybe you just need to do some jobs for him, and number one, you might find out, hey, this guy's really easy to work with. We don't mind taking a little less margin because it's easier, we can do it faster. So you might have to have a little history going with him, and then once you do, maybe then you can approach him for the agreement. It's not a bad idea. I just don't know if the guy will do it. All right, we're coming up on time here, and I know that there's a couple in. I've got another question here to add. This is from Denzel. By the way, Denzel, I love all your movies. Big fan. One of the challenges I'm facing in my business is facing more direct relationships with real estate agents, escrow officers, title companies, real estate attorneys, lenders, mortgage loan officers. I am a signing agent, which means I am a notary public. I help guide borrowers and buyers through closing docs. If you were me and you were looking to build your business into something else over 7 figures, what are some of the first steps you would first do to start growing this thing? All right. Wow. If I were you and I had that kind of access and that many relationships, all right, here's something that you could do. As long as you put together a business plan, we mentioned that earlier. What would it look like for you to expand? What's the easiest thing that you could go get into that could be lucrative that other people don't want to do? But here's a powerful thing that you could do, especially now, right? So I'm going to go off on a little bit of a tangent here. I know it's going to be helpful, and especially now. Okay, this whole COVID thing, pandemic, right? Shut everything down. People are still, like, they're starting to wake up to the idea of not working from home, but things are far from normal. So Denzel, you have access right now to people in a way you never have before. People you could never get on the phone and talk to and have conversations with, you can get them, right? So it might be that any one of these different things that you're thinking about building out and going into, maybe you want to go ahead and have conversations with kind of the top people in these different fields. And just, hey, can we get you on a Zoom call? Hey, can I send you Starbucks and jump on a Zoom call, and I just want to talk to you a little bit. I'm a notary public. I guide people through XYZ. I'm thinking about doing things differently. Oh, by the way, maybe you want to pivot and you do your shit completely digital and non-touch. And you're different in that way than some of the other law offices who are currently closing houses and doing that kind of thing. But the biggest advantage that I could see for you right now during the COVID crisis, and it's not over yet, trust, is that you have access to people you never could have talked to before. And you should sit down and make a list. Vern Harnish says his top 25 list. Who are the 25 people that I want to have a relationship with? Make your list and then start calling them. Boom, boom, boom. Have some conversations with these guys. Talk to them about what you do and what you want to do. Gain some of their knowledge, their wisdom. Nobody's going to steal your idea, right? There's no new ideas under the sun. There's only people who will go out and breathe life into it. So maybe after that, you might want to put together a business plan specific to any one of these new ideas that you've kind of curated by having these conversations. And then, once you've done that, maybe you want to take it back to one of those people you've established your, conversations with, and they're becoming now kind of an outside advisor which is great. You know, people, particularly people who've been successful, they love to do. You know, I'm on the board of a couple of companies here in Nashville. They're not paying me anything, you know, it's barely anything, and that's beside the point. I want to help them. It's fun to be involved, to watch them grow. Okay, so make your list, go talk to those people, put together a business plan. That's what I would do, and I would do it soon because this whole thing is pandemic thing. Normal is going to be back before you know it. I hope / I don't ever want it to go back to what it was before. All right, I'm going to throw this in here, and I thought Shelly tacked on to the question from earlier, and she said that she always gets bitten in the ass by jobs that ask for price reduction, just her experience. Yes, I agree. No good deed goes unpunished. Don't ever do anything because you're just being nice. Now, if you're doing it strategically as like a loss leader to get in and start doing work with people, that's one thing. And Mr. Obvious here, I would tell him straight up, hey man, we're taking a hit on margin just to do this work, but I want to be in business with you. So I'm going to do these 2 jobs at a lower margin. I'm never going to do it at that margin again. I'm going to show you what we're made of. Cool. And I expect some reciprocity on the back end and some more gigs with you. Is that cool? Like, you should be able to have those kinds of conversations with your clients. Now, some people might be taken aback. Most people are full of shit, right? So here's the good news, though. Wouldn't you rather find out the guy is full of shit before you enter into a contract with him and he doesn't want to pay you, right? So just go ahead and throw it out there, man. Like, and Patricia's like giving amens here. Exactly, strategic and transparent, man. Just tell them what you want, right? So listen, guys, this has been a blast. I appreciate being able to do this with y'all. I really do. And I'm excited about, number one, you know, thanks to Sean for letting me be a part of this. I love to watch the community and the way you guys kind of hold each other up, and the way you support each other is the main thing. I'm glad to be able to bring knowledge to you guys and be able to answer questions and stuff. Like I said, I want you guys to feel free to reach out to me, jtterrellonline@gmail.com. I really, really appreciate it. And go check out the books that I mentioned. I'm going to remember here: Why by Simon Sinek, Confessions of the Pricing Man by Herman Simon, Scaling Up by Vern Harnish, Simple Numbers by Greg Crabtree. And I think you guys will get a lot out of it. Appreciate y'all, and that's all I have. And go enjoy the rest of your day. I know that I'm going to. Bye, guys.